WIKB, Iron River, Crystal Falls, Amasa. Now, here's Dr. Larry.
Did you know? Let's go.
You've waited all week.
Every week, we continue to learn how to achieve a better back and ultimately better health.
Live in the WIKB studios, this is Dr. Larry.
Well, thank you for hitting the flex capacitor read. Hello again, everybody. Okay, let's get it started. Well, as you know, every show builds on the next. Every week, we continue to learn how to achieve a better back and ultimately better health. Now, in case any of you missed it, last week we talked about placebo. It was an important week to be tuned in because we learned and defined about the effect of placebo because let's face it, don't you want to know? So, here it is again. Tired? Fatigued? Need pep to your step? Then you could be deficient in this one key element in your diet. Not discovered until now. And the good news is you can get it as a supplement. Just once per day makes the brain fog, haze, and fatigue go away. The one supplement that just hit the market you need today. And it's called Simply. Spelled Simply. Simply Supplement makes all your adrenal fatigue, brain fog go bye-bye. Also, it builds better bones and joint health. But there's more. It's also packed with your essential electrolytes, multivitamin, as I said, too, which is not in any other vitamin in the market. And the one key element you're not getting in your food and cannot get from any other source that's derived from, catch this, cartilage of elk found in Sweden. Yes, elk cartilage. That's the essential element. And what's it called? I sucked you in. You never heard of it? This essential element missing in your diet, derived from a source not in any other of the 75,000 supplements before? Yes, you have. You've heard of it. Let me say it a little slower. I sucked you in. Simply. I simply sucked you in. With a totally made-up claim, totally made-up supplement, totally made-up essential element, I simply sucked you in. Except this time, rather than actually create the supplement, bottle it, and run a Facebook ad, or have a celebrity endorser, and after a while come to find out it's as useless as a pet crocodile, I just skipped past all that and gave it to you flat. However, how many of the 75,000 different supplements and vitamins are doing the same thing? Sucking you in. How do you know if what you're taking is working? Just because you feel better? Well, if that were the case, I think by now some supplement company would have had it right. Now let's pause this for a moment. What about other claims? Laser treatments for pain, ultrasound, chiropractic adjustments, acupuncture, dry needling. How about the list Big Pharma puts out? Just take this and you'll feel like this. Now, I'm putting everything under one microscope last week and in this review, and the microscope was the main topic, placebo. What is placebo? What is not? What's nocebo, the cousin to placebo? What do they have in common in your overall health? So we explored last week the power of the placebo effect. Now, placebo is interesting. How many of you stiffened out my simply false claim at the beginning last week? And you kind of knew this week, though, so you did have a spoiler, but were you able to sort it out last week? Now, what if I actually created the supplement? You took it, it had zero biochemical effect, but you felt better, more energetic, less mood swings. Maybe you got a bone scan and it improved and you were taking this farce of a supplement. Would you just simply chalk it up to be like, well, I don't know if it's working, but it can't hurt? But after taking it for a year, the placebo effect wears off, which again, you're not aware of, and you see or hear another ad and the cycle starts all over again. One placebo after another. Are you okay with that? Or Are you the kind of person that wants to take something because it actually does something positive and it's not a placebo? So let's define in one way what a placebo is first. It is a beneficial effect produced by placebo. Could be a drug, could be a treatment, could be a vitamin, could be anything like that, which cannot be attributed to the properties of the placebo itself. It must therefore be due to the patient's belief in the treatment. And there's some key points about placebo. It's inertness. They contain no active drug, nutrient, or therapeutic energy, or if it's active, it's not active for what it's intended to be. Appearance, it must mimic the look, taste, and administration method of the real treatment to preserve. So this is kind of where they use it in studies. Now, in everyday clinical practice, placebo can refer to any intervention believed by the patient to be a beneficial despite lacking any specific efficacy for the condition. So like the things we just went through, if it's working as a placebo. And now, even though placebos are inactive, they can produce real changes in symptoms through psychological and neurobiological ways, underscoring the power of the mind-body connection. Now let's take our definition of placebo with a narrow focus on vitamins and supplements. And again, I'm just reviewing this for you. We did a whole show on it, as you know, last week. I highlighted an article, and the title of the article was History of Vitamin and Supplement Advertising, Proof That Nothing is Original. In some statistics, by the end of the 1980s, 36% of men and 48% of women were taking some sort of vitamin. Despite the lack of the proof of the efficacy of the vitamins, the industry had done a great job of convincing a lot of people that they need vitamins to supplement their diet. And by the way, let me underscore here, I'm reading this article to you. This is not a position I'm taking. The show and the intent of the show is just to highlight placebo, how it infiltrates into something like the vitamin industry, because there are placebos in there, and what it means and how it affects. So again, this isn't to steer you in any direction. It's just to give you the information, digest it, and do what you need with it. So people believed. In 1994, the last time the supplement industry came under any significant regulatory review, the FDA established the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act after successful lobbying from the vitamin industry. And the backbone of the act was the burden of proof. Listen to this. The burden of proof was on you, not the industry, to prove that the products are safe and effective. That meant the FDA could only regulate the industry little by little as things go wrong, rather than try to regulate the industry, proving that their ingredients were safe and effective. Now, the irony in that is as we know, which is going to kind of be a prelude into the show I'm going to do this week and one coming up in a few weeks, is the FDA regulates things, but interestingly enough, as we're going to get into side effects of medications and weight loss medications, those side effects are detrimental, even though they're regulated. So there's some irony in there if you read into that. Now, in 2016, Peter Cohen, associate professor at Harvard Medical School and an internist, wrote in the Supplement Paradox that the lax DSHEA, I just gave you the full name of it, requirements for proof of product safety led to a rapid increase in the number of supplements in the marketplace from an estimated 4,000 in 1994 to 55,000 in 2012, and now today it's well over 75,000. So basically what happens is if you associate the two things, the supplement industry from way back in the day goes, sweet, we don't have to prove this, which is why you see that little blurb on top. You know, this has not been evaluated, blah, blah, blah. And we can just launch things in the market that we think. So now he says there are, of course, multiple tens of thousands of products on the market with new ingredients introduced at higher speeds with alleged more innovation. And none of these, of course, are being reviewed for if they work or not. In the 1930s and 40s, vitamin B gained a lot of attention when rumors spread that Hitler introduced or induced vitamin B deficiency to weaken conquered populations. So vitamin B started to take off right around the same time. And then there was the Frank Sinatra show. Oh, Blue Eyes. Vim's Vitamins sponsored the show, and Frank Sinatra was the pitchman. So during every show, listeners would and could expect to hear Sinatra wax lyrical about Vim's Vitamins, which he insisted, quote, contained all the vitamins that government and experts, doctors agree are essential in your diet. Now, I listened to the ad, and it was pretty catchy. Vim's Vitamins. And millions of people took Vim's Vitamins back in the day. So this has got a long history to it, or at least long in the sense of the last 60, almost 100 years now. Then you had the Flintstones. Remember? One-a-day Flintstones, those little chewable tablets, kind of tasted yummy. You had the Flintstones vitamins come into the market, and then again they used the nostalgia of the Flintstones and marketed to parents and kids. I took the Flintstones vitamins. Thought they were good for me. Not sure if it was placebo or not. Last week I also previewed CBD. Effective? Placebo? You don't know? Or do you know? Or how about that for an upcoming Did You Know? And then we reviewed placebo's cousin, nocebo. There was more, much more. However, if you missed the entire show and want to be more in the know, then log on to my website, drlarryradio.com, hit the subscribe button, follow the links, and listen to that show. It's been uploaded now, which you can listen to at your leisure as a podcast. And here is the final point. If you can detect placebo in the supplements you take, just remember, you'll know which ones are fake. Now, beyond that, in addition to the placebo gate, last week we learned a simple self-test for dehydration. It was another Dr. Larry cool tool, and you can call my office for a freebie reminder just in case you're in need of a retip or a tip up. And so that was last week. Hi-ya. Now today we'll forget that monologue for a moment and keep remembering those mandatory communication skills all doctors must have, which are inquisitive listening and staying positive. Again, it often means the difference between sick and well. Also, it's another month of the year, so let's keep our SI joints in gear. I'll tell you about that in a second. So in our tip and trick segment today, we're going to learn a simple self-test for SI joint dysfunction. Of course, you, Rito Dorito, are calling it out right from the broadcast booth while we crank up the tunes and I hit the center stage for the demo. However, before all that, in order to have good health, you don't need a lot of wealth. So let's flex our forebrain and put some knowledge at the game, because today we're going to talk about, hit it, Pearl.
Dr. Larry brings you another segment of Did You Know?
If. It's more than just a GIF. It's the biggest two-letter word in the dictionary. If it is used to say that a particular thing can or will happen when and only when after something else happens or becomes true. If, therefore, is contingent. Something else must happen before this can happen. If ingredients for antibiotics become scarce and you have a raging infection, then you might really get sick. Are you prepared to handle that? If you put socks on and your back goes out, then you might miss work. Are you prepared to handle that? If I don't get to the commercial break, then I might not get to tell you what if means for the show. And I'll get to that when we get back from the break. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Dr. Larry Radio Show.
Dr. Larry will be back in a moment.
Your healthcare should be about what's best for you. Yet too often, healthcare professionals focus on keeping patients within their system, including who they refer you to. I'm Dr. Jason Klein, orthopedic surgeon and physician owner at OSMS. You should be seen by who you want, and you can be. At OSMS, our focus is on providing you with the highest quality of care in a safe environment. The best part is, you usually don't need a referral for orthopedic care. Learn more at askforosms.com.
I would never recommend buying a home without having the water tested first. It's cool, it's clear, it looks clean. Oh, it tastes good. Well, what's really in it? And we just recommend that you check it out. I'm Jennifer Toivonen. I'm a co-lab director at Whitewater Associates of AMISA. Coliform bacteria, lead, arsenic, nitrates, nitrites. You want to be sure that water is safe. I would recommend giving us a call. That way we can tailor the kit that we send to you for what you need. 906-822-7889. Give us a call.
Shop local. Make your money mean more when you support these local businesses.
Are you waking up feeling worse than when you went to bed? Get yourself a new mattress from West End Home Furnishings, downtown Iron River. We have many comfort levels available, and we'll help you find the perfect mattress just for you. West End Home Furnishings, come find your inspiration.
Scott Stapleton at LTS Services in Iron River. LTS has fencing solutions for your home, property, business, and beyond. All types of fencing for your unique needs and quick turnaround for your fencing installation. Call Scott at LTS Services, 715-902-0036.
Stevens Real Estate has been the top real estate company in this area every year since 2009. With locations in Iron Mountain, Florence, and Iron River, buying and selling real estate has never been easier. We know this is the biggest decision you'll ever make, so let the educated, experienced pros at Stevens be your trusted advisors.
Reach thousands of local listeners for one low price. Call WIKB at 906-265-9622 to learn more.
This is California Sue, and you're listening to Dr. Larry Radio.
It's time to spruce up your outdoor space for summer, and Jensen Akins can help with that. We have all the outdoor power equipment, lawn and garden equipment, and tools to get you in tip-top shape, and then add in all the finishing touches like grills, fire pits, patio furniture, and more. You'll be the envy of your neighborhood, set to entertain and enjoy the season. Stop by Jensen Akins of Conover to get inspired this summer season. That's Jensen Akins of Conover, of course.
An audiologist has extensive training preventing, diagnosing, and treating hearing and balance disorders. Research has shown people tend to underestimate the degree of their hearing loss. Rather than just selling hearing aids and fitting them, we try to look at the person and where he is as far as counseling and guidance on his hearing journey.
There's never been a better time to start hearing what you've been missing, and Lori LaFleur at Tri-County Communications will help you every step of the way on your journey to better hearing. Visit her office at 609 Central Avenue in Florence, Wisconsin. Give her a call at 715-528-4350 or find help online at tricountyaudiology.com.
Break's over. Time to get cracking once again with Dr. Larry.
If ever, what if? Best if used by date. If all else fails, if I were you. If need be, if only. If the worst comes to the worst, as if is a way of saying like, no way, yeah, right. Remember that one? Or whatever. Like, how about this one? If not. Even if. As if I care. If you like. If you ask me, if all else fails, well, if the shoe fits, if you please, if I may. I've gone this far with a tangent. Do you know what GIF stands for? Stands for Graphics Interchange Format. I use that in a monologue, by the way. Just figured I'd let you know. What if? Now, I posed this question to a patient about 15 years ago. And I posed this show to you about 2 months ago, in April. And I decided to do the same show again. So what if? This patient was strung out on narcotic prescription drugs legally. And you remember that era. And if you forgot, let me take you a little bit back in history. In 2001, I was just getting out of chiropractic school, so that dates me a little bit there. Started practicing in the fall. One standout was how many patients were on high doses of prescription narcotics. I mean, a lot of patients, normal people. So there was a lot of dry, cotton-mouth history discussions. That was one side effect. There was a lot of constipation and histories, another side effect. And then by the time I got up into the UP 18 years ago, I remember it seemed even worse. Not because of the UP, but because it was just getting worse everywhere. Now, remember and think about this. The narcotics, the opioids, were getting handed out like candy, 90-day refills for backaches. And at the same time, it wasn't even questioned if this was excessive or not. And the pills kept rolling, getting cranked out. Now, over the history, this epidemic moved through, it's been framed in phases or waves. And they're overlapping a little bit. And the first wave came around the 1990s with an increase in opioid prescriptions, which included natural and semi-synthetic compounds. Physicians prescribed medication for non-cancer related pain as well as for chronic pain, creating greater opportunities for addiction. The most commonly prescribed ones were oxys and hydrocodones, also known as Oxycontin and Vicodin. And in particular, Purdue Pharma in 1995, it was marketed as less addictive, more mild. And then the aftermath of the first wave manifested in the doubling of the rate of opioid-related deaths, people dying from what you just heard, in the U.S. from 1999 to 2010. The second wave hit around 2010 to 2013. And then I'm going to insert a little story on top of a story here alongside of a story. I remember I had a patient come in right around that same time period. So, man, we're second wave right now. Nothing's really hit the mark. This is bad. And he was on, I don't remember if exactly it was 20 pills with 4 to 5 different types or 20 different types of pills. But all of them prescription narcotics of various sorts for his chronic pain. He decided to go to his camp and dry himself out on his own. He said it was the worst experience of his life for 2 weeks. He said he thought he was going to die multiple times because he was coming off of all the prescriptions. So then he comes in to tell me about this after the fact. And then catch this part of his story. He went back to the clinic who was prescribing all of these and said, hey, I'm pretty much done. Just thanks but no thanks. And this is what they told him. You are a non-compliant patient. We need to get you back on everything to help successfully treat your chronic pain. And we want to induce a mental state of psychosis through the prescription narcotics, so therefore you don't feel the pain like you are, and that's our care plan for you, and you need to get back in and let us medically treat you. And that was the last visit the guy had at that place. He said, you know, Dr. Larry, and I'll never forget, you know, the bulk majority of this conversation, and there was many like this, and the one I'm going over. He said, I'll deal with the pain. You know, it's bad, but it's not as bad as it was being strung out. He told me he didn't remember about 2 years of his life. So the second wave was 2010 to 2013. Morphine comes in. It was used in conjunction with other things. And then now rates were starting to quadruple, death rates. Now, remember, the bulk majority of these were prescribed. Of course, there was the black market stuff, and there was people selling things on the side or getting more scripts and then giving them out and doling them out. There was that whole aspect of it. But it all started with the prescription. Now, after the dust settles, oopsie, probably shouldn't have dulled out that many prescriptions. And by the way, the reason why I'm doing the show, there's multiple reasons why I'm doing the show again, but one of them is I'm noticing another wave starting, another potentially harmful wave. And when it's early on, it will not and does not get the attention it will until it's the harmful wave of side effects from the prescription weight loss injections. Mounjaro, it's one big one out there right now that's causing some stuff. And I just had a patient do an interview about her experience with that and what happened. So that'll be part of a show coming up at some point in time. Wegovy, I think, is the other name of it. And so the list goes on. You're familiar with them. You see the commercials. You've talked to people about it. Now, let's go back to the prescription narcotics. In the past, by the way, too, as far as the, this is the other thing I want to highlight, too. Way back when, for the weight loss stuff, was the amphetamines. You remember fen-phen? Basically, they were uppers, and that what got your metabolism racked high. And then what happened, you peel off a bunch of weight. That was right around, the 50s, and then it kind of gained significance and popularity in the 90s. That thing was yanked off the market. Why? Heart problems, cardiac arrest, you name it. Is this starting to sound a little familiar? And we're talking about the difference between life and death. Now, I know the positive side of things. Remember, there is the positive side of things. Remember when you're taking uppers or fen-phen, weight comes off, diabetic numbers come down, you're medically treated, you're good to go. So for the ones where it works and can tolerate it, hey, it worked for them, right? However, for the ones that did work, how many had long-term chronic cardiovascular, lung issues, you name it? Other organs got nailed. What about those people or the ones that died? Now, it wasn't that long ago that I remember patients getting prescribed this stuff. But I'll tell you this, in 20 years, when all of this is normal, like in the midst of it, like when it's just kind of, hey, this is normal. Commercials are going. I know a neighbor that takes it. I'm talking about the narcotics. Back in the day, it all falls on deaf ears. I tried even a few times back in the narcotic heyday when it was unusual to be like, hey, stop this stuff. I had one lady tell me this, that she needs a chiropractor, not a preacher. That's the kind of response I was getting at the time. Now, I frequently hear from patients sometimes, well, if someone would have told me that such and such was bad or was a bad health habit or the side effects were that bad, I wouldn't have done it or I would have tried something else. So I'm telling you, here you are. And anybody else you want to tell. You're on notice. You're hearing it. And I'm using the narcotic wave to create an analogy for the current wave that's coming on, which, again, it's going to be a focus of a whole show coming up. Now, back to the story. So the local doctor who this patient had pretty doped up, again, we're talking 15 years ago, so don't try to figure out names, had been to the ER 20 times. She had some issues, so I called the doctor up. I said, hey, I got to talk to you. And he said, well, what's the nature of your question regarding my patient? And I said, well, first off, and I knew this doctor doesn't like chiropractors, by the way. Shame. I said, it's not your patient, it's ours. So let's just get that straight. So, of course, then I come out firing. Respectfully. I said, secondly, do you know how many prescriptions this patient is on? And how many trips to the ER? And thirdly, why are you referring her for this when she needs this? And by the way, at the end of that discussion, in the best interest of the patient and going frontal on the doctor, it went nowhere. Patient left, never got a call back. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure what happened. Now, the little side and sad story to all this is I knew this patient in particular when she was an innocent little 8-year-old girl, when she came in to see me first. And then the prescription drug thing took on, and then I saw her when she was in her early 20s, and things have changed, of course, as it does to people. But again, I hear only if, there's the title of the show, only if somebody would have helped, tried, or said something. So what if? What if they stop prescribing the drug that you're taking? And I asked her, this other patient, what we're you going to do? She said, well, then I'll be forced to stop. And I said, then why don't you stop now? And I think for a while, she hopped around from doctor to doctor and then eventually did stop. So let's go back to the question, what if? What if the prescription drug you're taking right now causes you tomorrow to have a stroke? And what if you have to be in the hospital for 30 days? What if the prescription drug you're taking right now causes permanent kidney failure? What if the prescription antibiotic you're taking causes you to have vertigo? What if the prescription weight loss drug you're injecting causes you to have a bowel blockage? Now, I bring that up because those are all highlights of real patient cases within this broadcast area of just ones that I know that are in my office who have told me directly, right from the source's mouth. So what if the prescription drug that you desperately needed this year and every year after is taken off your list of covered medications and you can no longer afford it? And what if the generic doesn't work? So there's a lot of thinking behind the what if when it comes to healthcare, and specifically the topic that I'm talking about. And you may respond, well, if all else fails, then I'll handle it. So basically, when push comes to shove, I'll deal with it. Or you may say, well, even if that does happen, it's unlikely. Or you may say, if push comes to shove, then I'll face it then. So if is a big 2-letter word in the dictionary. But what if gets you only halfway to prepare when it comes to side effects, or halfway when it comes if the prescription drug tree in the backyard wilts up and the supply disappears? So what if I told you everything I just told you and did nothing about it or gave you no tools? So I'm going to give you a tool. It's a radio show. I can't give you everything, but I got to give you something to walk away with other than, I can't believe, what if? What if this does happen to me? So let's give you a tool which you're going to want to hear as it relates to knowing prescription drug side effects, which you want to hear when we get back from the break. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Dr. Larry Radio Show.
We'll be right back with Dr. Larry.
An audiologist has extensive training preventing, diagnosing, and treating hearing and balance disorders. Research has shown people tend to underestimate the degree of their hearing loss. Rather than just selling hearing aids and fitting them, we try to look at the person and where he is as far as counseling and guidance on his hearing journey.
There's never been a better time to start hearing what you've been missing, and Lori LaFleur at Tri-County Communications will help you every step of the way on your journey to better hearing. Visit her office at 609 Central Avenue in Florence, Wisconsin. Give her a call at 715-528-4350 or find help online at TriCountyAudiology.com.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized to you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situations change? When you work with Ryan O'Grady, your Crystal Falls Edward Jones financial advisor, he focuses on what's important to you. You'll work together and use an established process to create a personalized financial strategy, backed by the advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And you can partner long-term to help your strategy stay on track. Contact Ryan today at 906-875-3833. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From loving a new listing to living in it, a RE/MAX North Country agent can lead the way. RE/MAX North Country, locally owned and operated with offices in Crystal Falls, Iron River, and Florence. RE/MAX, unmatched experience, unmatched results.
Here's your Iron River and surrounding area forecast. Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, otherwise sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High temperatures reach up to 77. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies. Tonight, slight chance of thunderstorms. Lows dip down to about 55. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on WIKB. Currently 73.
This is Cindy from Long Lake, and you're listening to Dr. Larry Radio.
Kick off summer in the Northwoods at WIKB's TT Palooza Saturday, June 21st. Hosted by the Iron County Museum and WIKB 99.1 FM, celebrating 60 years in the Northwoods' legendary radio show Telephone Time. Enjoy a full day of friends, food, and fun on the grounds of the Iron County Museum in Caspian, Michigan. It all kicks off at 8 a.m. with the Palooza Breakfast in the Cultural Center, followed by the first ever Telephone Time radio show live on location and the Iron County Firemen's Races right across the street. Families and kids will have tons to enjoy with games, prizes, contests, bounce house, ice cream truck, and tasty treats all around the beautiful outdoor exhibits. And vendors providing demonstrations and entertainment all across the grounds. Enjoy a beer or cocktail from Tony's Bar, giant party games, DJ and live music, raffles, 50-50, and thousands in contest prizes up for grabs. Professional cornhole tournament on site at 11 a.m. $40 entry per team and 80% payout. Festival-style food served all day from S&J Foods, T-Backers, Pump's Burgers, and delightful desserts. TT Palooza is free entry, cash inside. No food or beverage carry-ins, but bring a lawn chair and no pets allowed. Find the TT Palooza event on Facebook for more information. TT Palooza, Saturday, June 21st at the Iron County Museum.
We're back with Dr. Larry.
Welcome back. Drugs. Do you remember the drug Vioxx? Not sure? So let's roll back the time again in history. Let's pretend I'm doing the show back then when Vioxx was around and you were taking Vioxx. Well, Vioxx was used to reduce inflammation and stiffness caused by osteoarthritis and to manage acute pain in adults. And it actually worked really well. People who took it had a good reduction in their arthritic and acute pain. The only problem, it caused 120,000 traumatic cardiac events and 40,000 deaths. So they yanked it off the market. Now, that is only one drug from that point in time. Let me give you another statistic. Based on a systematic review of hospital charts, found that even properly prescribed drugs, aside from misprescribing, overdosing, or self-prescribing, every year cause 1.9 million hospitalizations. Another 840,000 hospitalizations are from patients that end up having a severe adverse reaction to drugs. And that brings up a grand total of 2.74 million serious adverse reactions from drugs every year, which cause 128,000 deaths. So that's roughly 200,000 people every month are hospitalized, and nearly 13,000 per month die from prescribed drugs that they've had a bad reaction to. And that is just in the U.S. I can attest to the fact that by and large, when I've talked to patients throughout the years, this does come up. And patients that I've known or patients who know other people have commented on that. Oh, yeah, so-and-so had to go to the hospital because they had an adverse reaction to fill in the blank. Now, how could you or how would you know if that innocently looking pill, seamless injection, could hospitalize you or worse? What is a potential prevention tool? Well, I've got one for you today that I've brought back multiple times because the issue never goes away. So, therefore, it's always relevant. And if you have multiple prescription drugs, you can go get them out of your purse or pocket or wherever. And I'm going to give you a tool to help prevent you from being hospitalized or worse from your prescription drugs. Now, this is more so if they clash, but it's a great tool. It's an excellent website. It's called drugs.com. Now, you say, well, Dr. Larry, my doctor will know if something's not right for me to take, or if it'll clash with my other medications, or my pharmacist will catch it. And this isn't a disrespectful comment to any one of those professionals, but no, they ain't. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these statistics. They've gotten prescription. They have to write out prescriptions for so many different patients, and then you have multiple doctors, and you have multiple pharmacies sometimes. And yes, you've got some catch-all, things on computers that flash, and you've got pharmacists, communicating, etc. But still, things are getting through the cracks. So you, as many patients have told me, I need to be my own advocate. I've got to be proactive, and I would highlight that and say yes. So here's a proactive approach, drugs.com. Now, I popped this up on my computer, It's a great resource, originally created by pharmacists. And my favorite part is the algorithm. All you have to do is take your list of drugs and type each one in, and it will spit out a report. I've done this periodically for patients, and I haven't done it in a while. And I don't want to say it ain't my job, but it ain't my job. This is stuff that, where medicine, they get paid the big bucks to do all this stuff. They should be monitoring. But anyway, I do it anyway because, as you know, I do things that ain't my job just to help out. So, and we're doing this right now. Now, for patients, I have some of them that are on 15 different medications, 6 or more, 8 or more, or 15 pills combined total. Some people have been on 30, plus add in the supplements. I've pulled medication lists on people, and sometimes they're having all sorts of body aches and pains, and a bunch of tests run and still no answers. I remember I had a nurse that worked at a big box hospital. She had terrible migraine headaches, sinus headaches, and it was right above her eyes. And she's like, I just can't figure it out. She's like, I've been a nurse for so long. I've talked to the doctors. And so I said, I don't really know what they are, but let's kind of start simple and let's take a look at the medications you're taking. And she comes back a couple of weeks later. She's like, you're not going to believe it. She said, my frontal sinus headache was from a medication I was taking to counteract another medication. And there it was. Boom, I was getting that side effect. She discontinued it, and not on her own, by the way. She did it with the help of her doctor, and proved it. That's what it was. So that eliminated a 10-year headache right there. It was an interaction from a medication. I plugged and chugged some medications on one patient, and found on the list of the medication that there were at least 2 that were interacting severely. And the report said, immediately talk to your doctor and discuss this. I had a patient a while back. He was on a pacemaker, just got it, or he had it installed, if you want to say it that way. He was having all sorts of heart issues. In the midst of the doctoring for his heart, one physician finally stood up and told him, over the years, there are too many doctors writing too many medications. And prior to his pacemaker procedure, he had a sharp healthcare worker that saw one of his drugs that was just prescribed and said, get off this immediately. So yeah, you're going to get some people that are going to catch stuff. Now, I know patients that have suffered from strokes from taking medications. I've seen patients nearly pass out from taking too many medications. I know one patient in particular that had a severe injury from being overdosed from heart medications, passed out. Another one had a lung issue that we'll talk about in another show. So the prevention tool is drugs.com. And you can run through, you just go drugs.com. You can take your list of medications, start cranking them out. I popped up the website here. My intent was to run through a list of a couple medications and do that for you right here on the air. So I'm going to add in, let's see. Now, I'm going to type in right now, drug interaction tools. So you'll see right at the top, I'm looking at the website. It's the third one in. It says drug interaction tool. And then I typed in Ozempic. Bang. Now I got it. And then I'm going to type in, let's do a statin. We're going to do an ad. We're going to type in, a statin. There we go, simvastatin. I'm just going to see if there's an interaction between those two, Ozempic and simvastatin. So there's one that gives you a major interaction with food. Looks like if you're on Ozempic and you're on a statin, you're okay. And this is how. Now I'm going to add another one. Let's add in low pressor. I'll see a check interaction there. And still pretty good there. However, you got to watch if you're on metoprolol. Looks like with Ozempic. So again, the whole point is it's just taking me a minute here, and I'm just logging in medications, and you can just keep cranking them in. And I do believe, let me try one right now too. I'm gonna try a supplement. So I'm going to add in vitamin B12. That's another one people take around here. Let me check some interactions with that. Check interactions. Past 4 of these, by the way, it does make you create an account with them. Big deal. Okay. No warnings for that one, too, so it looks like you take B12. So, again, you can even plug in your vitamins, your supplements as well, too, and see if there's any interactions. It's a great tool. It's an easy tool, and also it has pill identifiers. So if you have a random pill and you don't remember what that was for, it'll help you identify what your actual pill is. It'll go over, like I said, side effects. You can read through those in big print, not small print. That helps. Drugs.com. It is your what-if tool to help you out with your what-if scenarios. And I love to bring that back out because it's such an easy thing to do. And if you're on multiple prescription medications, and especially if you're on injectables for weight loss, then it's a wonderful ability for you to see if there's going to be any real serious interactions. So, what if? If is contingent, something else must happen before this can happen. What if the ingredients for your antibiotics become scarce and you have a raging infection and you might really get sick? Are you prepared to handle it? What if you put your socks on and your back goes out and you might miss work? Are you prepared to handle that? What if you heard this show for the first time or the second time? And what if you still to decide to inject medications in you for weight loss? Are you ready to handle the side effects? All right, upcoming announcements and our tip and trick of the week just around the corner. This is the Dr. Larry Radio Show.
Dr. Larry will be back in a moment.
We've been advertising with WIKB for over a year and a half now, and what we like about it is that it gets out to the community, brings customers to us that typically wouldn't come. It reaches out to the UP into Eagle River. This is Kenny from Thermal Chaos Pub,
the fun bar in Dunbar.
Since we've been on WIKB, we've expanded our family relationships out to places such as Puerto Rico, Missouri, Iowa, and Colorado. And these are locations where they listen on the app, but this is part of the WIKB family also. There's no better way to go in the UP in northern Wisconsin than WIKB. Thermal Chaos Pub. Please do try this.
Hello, baby.
Sammy Hagar's Top Rock Countdown is Saturday nights on 99.1 FM.
Rockin' the up.
Actually, it's UP, Sammy, like Upper Peninsula.
Well.
Yeah, but anyway, tune in at 5 p.m. on Saturdays.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 hours of the Red Rocker counting down his favorite classic rock with themes like best album openers, best B-sides, best solo artists. Every week is something new.
Don't miss it.
And if you do miss it, the Sunday afternoon rerun is on at 3.
Mas Tequila!
It's like 10 a.m., dude, but alright. Classic rock and your favorite hits in the Top Rock Countdown on... Can you tell them, Sammy?
Uh-huh. WIKB FM Iron River.
This is Clovis from Iron River. You're listening to Dr. Larry's Radio.
Kick off summer in the Northwoods at WIKB's TT Palooza Saturday, June 21st. Hosted by the Iron County Museum and WIKB 99.1 FM. Celebrating 60 years in the Northwoods legendary radio show Telephone Time. Enjoy a full day of friends, food, and fun on the grounds of the Iron County Museum in Caspian, Michigan. It all kicks off at 8 a.m. with the Palooza Breakfast in the Cultural Center, followed by the first ever Telephone Time radio show live on location and the Iron County Firemen's races right across the street. Families and kids will have tons to enjoy with games, prizes, contests, bounce house, ice cream truck, and tasty treats all around the beautiful outdoor exhibits, and vendors providing demonstrations and entertainment all across the grounds. Enjoy a beer or cocktail from Toadie's Bar, giant party games, DJ and live music, raffles, 50-50, and thousands in contest prizes up for grabs. Professional cornhole tournament on site at 11 a.m. $40 entry per team and 80% payout. Festival-style food served all day from S&J Foods, D-Backers, Pumps Burgers, and delightful desserts. TT Palooza is free entry, cash inside. No food or beverage carry-ins, but bring a lawn chair and no pets allowed. Find the TT Palooza event on Facebook for more information. TT Palooza, Saturday, June 21st at the Iron County Museum.
This local public service announcement is brought to you by Iron River Community Broadcasting.
If you're a resident of Iron or Dickinson counties and the cost of your medication is too high for you to afford, the Medical Care Access Coalition may be able to help you bring those prices under control. Call the Medical Care Access Coalition of Iron and Dickinson counties for free consultation at 906-776-5412. That's 906-776-5412.
Break's over. Time to get cracking once again with Dr. Larry.
Okay, a couple of things before we wrap up the show and get to the weekly tip and trick. Have you heard of the medication amiodarone? Well, it's a heart medication with serious potential side effects. And if it's prescribed by your physician, there are protocols to follow to make sure you're tolerating the medication well. And if not, there can be serious consequences. I'll be interviewing a local lady whose husband was on the medication several years ago, and you'll find out what happened to him and his lungs from amiodarone. You get the shiny new hip and bionic knee, and you talk with someone like me, the surgeon, nurses, and more. But how often do you ever get to hear directly from the manufacturers and distributors of these parts? What kind of information do they have to offer you, the potential patient? So I did an impromptu survey with some patients who I've referred to for hip replacements, knee replacements. I said, hey, what kind of hardware you got in there? You know, you got a Chevy or a Ford in your garage. What kind of hardware, sir or madam, do you have in that knee? I don't know, Dr. Larry. I'm not really sure the brand name of that one. I said, okay, you didn't get the shiny brochure and pamphlet? They're like, no, I know it feels good and it works. I go, okay. Would you want to know? Well, yeah. One patient said, I think I'm going to call the office back and find out what kind of hip replacement I have. So I spoke to a seasoned representative on the referral from a surgeon from the Division of Orthopedic Implants from Johnson & Johnson. Also, potentially, perhaps, maybe, Dr. Devin McCaslin is going to come on the show. He received his master's degree in audiology from Wayne State University and PhD in hearing science from The Ohio State University. And then he was at Vanderbilt, where he worked there. Then he got recruited by Mayo, and now he's landed at the University of Michigan and still sees patients a couple days a week. He's a researcher. And as his mom, Lori LaFleur, said, he's an idea guy for them. And so Devin is going to be coming on if we get our schedules together. The CEO of Foot Levelers, one of the longest running and largest orthotics companies for your feet. They also make custom pillows for your head. And you all know, most of you know, what a cervical pillow is, the one that's got the little bump there for your neck. This lady's grandfather had the patent on that, so she'll be coming on the show at some point. Queen City Running, just an open up in Iron Mountain. Paige, one of the co-owners, plans to come on the show as well, too, and the CEO of a CBD company called Sterling Professional. And he is, actually, the interview is going to happen tomorrow. And then I should have the interview and the show aired hopefully within a week or two. And so my focus is not on THC. It's on CBD. But what he's going to do is he's going to run us through the sanity equation of the market, understanding what CBD is, how it affects, in his company, why the method that they use is pure extraction, and the benefits of CBD as it relates to the treatment of pain. And we're going to stick mostly on the topical component. That's where my focus is for the show. That's what I care about the most to bring to you, and to bring some understanding and some comprehension of the CBD as a product for you. Special thanks to Rito Dorito, Quietest Man Radio, Keaton, helping me out with some ads. Don't forget to check out the Dr. Larry link on WIKB.com. You can email your healthcare question to me throughout the week, and they'll forward over to me. And if it's a great question, greater service, I'll answer it on air. No names, of course. As you heard at the start of the show, there are 3 tabs to click on my website, drlarryradio.com. There's the For Listeners tab. There is the For Patients tab, For Radio Syndications tab. So if you're interested in any of that's tough. Go check out my website, drlarryradio.com. And I did right now, before the interview with the CBD CEO, I created a For CBD tab, and there's a link there to hop onto their website, because this is only Dr. professional grade CBD stuff. So for topical stuff, if you want to check that out too, there's a link, and you can take a look at some of his products before he even comes on the show. And he was going to talk about the purity of the product and the milligrams, etc. Also, I'm on every platform now. Hey, pretty cool stuff. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and a couple other ones that I don't even know their names for, and some pretty cool statistics I've got for you as well, too. Just started that about 2 months ago, and getting worldwide downloads now on shows. You guys get to hear all the fresh shows right here live. The rest of the folks hear it recorded and dumped on those platforms. But so far, 210 new downloads in the United States. Almost hit every 50 states right now. Next, Brazil, Germany, Mexico, Russia, all the way down, Venezuela, Taiwan, France, Denmark. Unbelievable. Right away, started getting downloads for different shows and various topics. One of the most popular ones so far downloaded is the one on stenosis, which I thought that was interesting. The one on Botox I did was the second one hit, and the rest are kind of a mixed bag of hits too. But anyway, on every platform right now, if you want to check out some of the other shows, then you've got my website. But basically, if you want to hear the show, you can find it. Plus, right here on WIKB. Okay, Reed, you ready for the tip and trick? You head up to the broadcast booth. I'm heading out center stage for the demo. It's a quick one. Simple self-test for SI joint sprain. I'm going to pretend like
He's going to pretend like he's on the ground. So basically, Dr. Larry's sitting in his chair, and he's like holding his leg like a gentleman, I guess you could say. He's kind of holding his shin with his hands, but pretend he's doing this on the ground.
Yes! And it looks like I'm making the number 4. And good job, Reed. I kind of threw you off like that one. I didn't get on the floor this time. I got a light colored coat on. I don't want to dirty it up. That's for an SI joint sprain. You'll feel pain across the SI joint, which everybody pretty much says is their hip. That is the test for it. It's kind of an elusive little guy there. Most people think it's their hip or their back, but it could be your SI joint. SI joint, sacroiliac joint. Be like, oh, that's boring. Well, if you got hip pain, it could be that. So there you go. That's the test for it. Folks, remember, you can listen to me live right here every week to learn how to achieve a better back and better health, or if you're having a pain or problem, I'm here to help. My number at the office is 906-875-3215. Have a good day, boy on the board, and I'll see you next week, everybody.
WIKB, Iron River, Crystal Falls, Iron Mountain, Kingsford.